The earnings dropped after our largest trending trade, and the fireworks burst. There were even viewing parties for NVIDIA's quarterly results, despite the impact on the stock. The company is doing quite well. Revenues have more than doubled. Sales would increase by 80% if there were a quival point, as they say, which is, I suppose, less than the more than 100% growth they were achieving. However, they discussed resolving certain supply issues with their next-generation semiconductor chip in a fairly upbeat manner. Naturally, the most important question is what to do with the stock. Over the past year, it has been a high flyer. Lately, it has been stabilizing. Putting it to a bull will allow us to put it to a. Although he technically has a neutral position on the stock, I call him a bear. Come on in, Dan Ives. Gil Luria is a senior software analyst at D.A. Davidson, and he is an analyst at Wedbush, representing the bulls. And let's start with you, Dan, as the stock is under pressure. What caught your attention during the quarter, and how would you characterize the response? Indeed, under pressure, I believe that this stock will really rise during the next few days. This quarter was a masterpiece, you see. In light of what we observed in terms of demand, they ought to print the press release and place it in the L. Bark was worse than buy because of the Blackwell delays and the anxieties. And I believe that prediction for the upcoming years only sets the standard for the godfather of AI to continue to over-deliver and under-promise. I believe that the AI revolution is just getting started. In 1 year, the market will be worth $4 trillion with a $4 trillion market capitalization. Gil, I'll challenge you because from what I remember, your concerns are almost never related to what NVIDIA is doing now. It's more focused on the upcoming 3 to 5 quarters. Yes, exactly. The biggest clients of NVIDIA have stated that they plan to purchase as many GPUs as possible this year and may even expand their purchases the following year. However, they must eventually see a return on their investment. They must provide a return on that investment to their clients. That isn't occurring at all. There is a lot of gamesmanship going on amongst these firms at the moment. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta are attempting to ensure that they do not have too much data center capacity. They are referring to it as overinvesting, and when you do that, you will eventually have to wind down your investment, which is what these corporations plan to do. And that might occur as early as the following year. According to current street projections, NVIDIA will generate $200 billion in sales by 2026. Microsoft's margins will be reduced by 2, 3, or maybe 4 percentage points in order for that to occur. According to Dan and myself, who cover Microsoft, the company's margins are dropping this year, and its shareholders won't put up with it for very long. Your answer, Dan? Look, I believe Gil is referring to something that is very similar to customers. The use cases must be shown to them. The ROI must be shown to them. Furthermore, there is no question about the demand curve's appearance. Since this is more than just NVIDIA, I believe the next phase, which we have discussed, is the development of a fourth industrial revolution. It concerns derivative plays that are second, third, and fourth. When it comes to earnings, the Godfather's remarks from last night are essentially the first and second innings in a 9-inning game. AI capital expenditures will amount to trillions of dollars. Just to counter that trend, we still see it as 9:00 p.m. in the AI party that lasts till 4:00 a.m. I'm not declaring the end, though, because Gil has been invited to the party. It's 9:00 p.m. There's glass on the dance floor. I'm not suggesting that the music stops at one point. So you don't agree that the component will be finished in 3 to 5 quarters. Look, I think it will be 4:00 a.m. at some time, and there may be after parties. But as long as the return on investment is present, and not only for the hyperscalers, but also for governments and businesses, I think this will surpass NVIDIA. In my opinion, this is the cornerstone of the AI bull market that will emerge in the upcoming years. You mentioned in your note that, in the tech industry, $1 spent on an NVIDIA chip multiplies by 8 to 10. Describe how that operates. Gil and Look discussed Microsoft. The main point is that purchasing an NVIDIA CPU is just the beginning. Which software is it? Which hyperscale is it? What is the application? How is the infrastructure? For a brief while, it was encouraging to hear from the bears last night, but they have been in hibernation mode for a few years, so that's the multiplier across tech. Additionally, they occasionally come out, When I don't see them, I worry about it. However, I believe the trend will continue. Gil, as you can see, Can is now stating that in addition to this multiplier, NVIDIA's market capitalization will increase by another $1 trillion. What are your thoughts? I want to start by saying thank you for inviting me to the party, Dan. Dan has emerged as the spokesperson for this AI revolution. No better man could have been affected. In my opinion, the majority of generative AI will be implemented on Android or Apple devices, that is, not on NVIDIA chips, in the coming year. Thus, the celebration will undoubtedly continue. Artificial intelligence is still in its infancy. Simply put, NVIDIA will no longer have sole control over the hardware that AI is running on. We believe that companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft will begin to make these kinds of deductions and even conduct a large portion of the training on their own processors. Additionally, NVIDIA will have a significant portion of the industry, but not the whole market as it already does. Dan, I want you to realize that the other hyperscalers that are currently clients will soon start to compete with you because, it's the same thing. I'm waiting for that to happen with Apple and Qualcomm. So, has this circumstance ever come up? Does it pose a threat, or is it a genuine one? Well, it appears that they are requesting an increasing amount of share. Additionally, I believe that all of the hyperscalers will attempt to acquire more of that element, much like Microsoft would pursue more of the apps, because this is the largest trend in tech investment that we have seen since the beginning of the internet. It is nearly going to be a co-opetition. Additionally, businesses won't just hand that out. See, that's why I believe this is a larger AI party as it develops. When Gil attends the gathering, I will save my purple sports jacket for him. Okay, Gil, what are your thoughts? Do you have any plans to wear the purple sports jacket soon? I'm hoping so. I hope the celebration goes on. Since our clients are NVIDIA shareholders, I sincerely hope so. We currently favor Apple and Amazon, but I hope the stock continues to rise. Let's discuss that then. I believe that both of you agree that there is no doubting that this revolution is happening and that it will change the game. However, there may be differences in how and where you play that game. Let's back off a bit. Although you mentioned that NVIDIA might rise in the coming days, Dan, I'm curious if there's simply buyer fatigue, exhaustion, and being over-indexed in these companies. Who doesn't still own NVIDIA after all? Where does the additional buyer come from at earnings viewing parties? Does the fact that there appears to be interest in other areas of the market as rate reduction approach make the rally vulnerable? I don't agree. Many people have not actually participated, but I believe there are still a lot of people that are. I want to call it underweight. In high school, NVIDIA is LeBron James. The point is that this will continue to happen, and I believe that investors will eventually be increasingly convinced that this is not just hype. Compared to what we're seeing in tech, this is the most empowered spending that our generation has ever witnessed. To see where the land is, isn't it the purpose for the second journey to Asia in the past month? You won't find that in a New York City office building's 10K or spreadsheets. From an iPhone standpoint, the iPhone 16 started at 8,084 million, and now it's over 90 million. This is encouraging based on what we think supply chains are telling us about the next AI-driven supercycle with the iPhone 16. And I continue to think that Apple will have an understated demand cycle. However, you just brought her demand. Demand is still increasing rather than decreasing. Additionally, I believe that parts of the U.S.-China tech wars tariffs are concerning, and